2 minutes until showtime.
Well, it'll never get better than Martinsville. Never get better than Martinsville. That's fantastic. That's right. Yeah.
Going from one legendary track in Daytona to Martinsville is pretty special.
Fantastic. Man, I wish you the best. We'll have to stop by and see. In fact, we're going up to Glenn Wood's birthday party next week.
Really?
I don't know if you guys are going up or not, but up there in Stewart. Yeah, because it's just like 20, 30 miles away.
Yeah, we'll talk to Clay and see what we're doing because he usually is like Jason at every track.
Yeah. That'd be great if you guys could make it. Okay. Positions, everyone.
Positions.
Okay.
Oops, sorry, I just hit the button. I hit the...
Oh, that's okay. Hey, testing 1 2 1 2. Can you hear? Yep. Throw money. What?
Hello, testing 1 2 3.
There we go. We have a professional. Is that close enough for you?
1 minute
How's this?
until showtime.
1 minute.
1 minute. I feel like an astronaut.
I know. Here we go.
Getting ready for the countdown.
Here we go.
Good. This is relatively painless.
I'm all good. I like
Okay.
talking, so I'm fine. But I also can be quiet too. So.
No, we don't want that. Can you stay for lunch?
Sure.
Oh, great.
Are you eating?
Yeah.
Have you eaten? Okay.
No, I will be.
Hello.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Now, from the world's most famous beach, from where beach racing began, it's the Legends of Racing radio show. Live from racing's North Turn Beach Bar and Grill in Ponce Inlet, Florida. The Legends of Racing radio show. And your host, Buz McKim.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Yeah, you know quality when you see it. That's all I got to say. Very good. We are so excited about today. You know, we aren't an auto racing show. We are a racing show, meaning that we talk about anything with wheels and motors, and sometimes they don't even have to have wheels. But we are tickled to death to have with us Miss, are you ready? Yeah, Shelly Rossmeyer from Daytona Harley Davidson, Destination Daytona. It's actually Shelly Rossmeyer Pepe.
You got it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. But anyway, you kind of control that vast empire that your family has now, right? Are you the grand poobah?
I'm definitely one of them, but I have a lot of help, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, you're only as good as your help, though, right?
I think so.
Yes, indeed. And you got such a great history in all forms of motorsport through your father, and but primarily through Harley. And I guess it would have to be the #1 brand in the world. What do you think, Doc? Okay, all right. Yeah, Daytona has such a great history of motorcycling. Oscar Hedstrom, who founded the Indian Motorcycle Company, was here in the early days of beach racing in the early 1900s. Glenn Curtis came here in 1906 with a V8 motorcycle, turned 137 miles an hour. And then Harley came back in 1937 with a super-duper streamlined bike. A fellow named Joe Petralli ran over 135, almost 138 miles an hour with that bike. And, of course, we've had the Daytona 200 here, which, other than the Indy 500 and the Pikes Peak Hill Climb, is the oldest continually held automotive or racing event in the world. That's pretty remarkable. I mean, people think of stock cars when they think of Daytona, but it's really a big part of the history as motorcycles, and you folks are a big part of continuing that heritage.
And we have been doing this for about 25 years, but the history that we come from, being from the Daytona Beach area, will forever live, and it's really cool being in business in this area.
Yeah. Now, you were not a Daytona native, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
born and raised.
Oh, you were? You were
Yes.
born in Daytona?
I was born at Halifax Hospital.
Oh, well, I'll be darned. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But now you did spend some time in New Jersey, though, didn't you?
We sure did. Our father was from New Jersey, and so he brought the family up there back in the mid 80s, and then we moved back down late 80s.
Yep. Now, any of the longtime Daytona folks, you remember Daytona Dodge or Rossmeyer Dodge? It was out on Speedway Boulevard. He was the Dodge giant, right?
He sure was.
Yeah, and very much involved. Hello. Was that a guillotine? Off with his head. Okay.
Down to our level now.
But, he was very much involved with NASCAR and sponsored cars for years that ran at the Speedway. And, in fact, I think Ray Evernham has that Dodge Charger now, and it still has Rossmeyer Dodge on the side of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. We've got some good photos from back then, and things were a little different out at the Speedway, as we know.
Yeah, and I really think that in his own way, he kind of helped usher Chrysler back into NASCAR, because Buddy Arrington back in the day was the only fella that was running a Chrysler product, and Bruce stepped right up and gave him sponsorship.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he always tried to be anywhere he could be on the fastest car. He tried to get his name on that vehicle or that motorcycle.
Yeah, well, he was a great businessman.
Yes.
And then, now the story I heard is that around 1994, he was getting bored. He wanted something to do, and he moved to Daytona and opened up the Harley shop down on Beach Street. Is that correct?
Yes, we had moved back down to Florida in around 87, and he was back in the car business and then purchased Daytona Harley in 1994.
Now, Joe Robinson had the Harley shop,
Sure,
right?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but your dad really kind of made it Hollywood. Yeah.
Well, Harley, as we probably know, they were trying to get dealers to kind of pick up and start changing their business plan, and Joe was very straight up to Harley as well as to our dad that said he just wanted to. He didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do that, and my dad felt like he was ready to kind of do what he did in the car business and bring it into the motorcycle business.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you're not only selling the product, but you're selling I guess you might call it the mystique of the brand, and that goes along with having a really first-class facility, which he did. He built that beautiful building down on Beach Street.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, back in '94, and we stayed there for 20 years.
Yeah, and then you moved north to well, actually, you all founded Destination Daytona, didn't you?
Yes, my father and two other partners cleared all that land up there, which was about 150 acres, to create the property of Destination Daytona, which is where we then had the dealership as well.
And not only do they have great motorcycles, they got great barbecue up there. It is fantastic. And then there's a Hooligans up there, and there's a pavilion for concerts, and just you name it. It's Disney World for motorcycle folks, and probably the best stocked store within the industry.
I believe so. We work very hard at making sure if the brand has made it, we're taking it to try to bring it into our inventory and stock as much as we can so people can swing on through and buy something.
Yep. And I guess Harley, they pretty much put their name and logo on nearly everything. Can you get a onesie for your kid?
Yes, you can.
Really?
You can get an umbrella too if you want one.
I'll keep that in mind. That's very cool. So what is the coolest thing you ever saw Harley put on the market?
In regards to a motorcycle?
Sure.
Oh, wow. I knew you were going to ask me some good questions that I didn't prepare for. I still love the Dyna Lowrider.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody ever put any seat time on one of them? No? Oh, well.
I actually never, out of all the bikes that I've owned and ridden, I never really owned a Dyna Lowrider. Ridden them for a long time, but I loved the XR 1200. I loved the, when I think about the bikes that came in and out, but I still ride a Road Glide now, and I love it.
Great. Well, a
Yes.
good friend of mine bought a new Harley in 1974, and I had a little Kawasaki 100 for going out through the woods. That's about all I could handle, but he let me ride his Harley one day, and I felt like God on that thing. It just brings something out in you, and it really, really is a lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, motorcycling in general just gets you into it, and I think as you find a brand that you really like, you follow that history. I mean, there's a lot of really cool motorcycles out there, but when you find your brand that you're going to stay maybe loyal to, or you're going to mix it up a little bit, I think people like to carry that with them as an enthusiast.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just something about, so it's instantly recognizable, the HD or the orange and black or whatever. It just, if somebody sees you with any of that apparel on, they know pretty much where you're coming from. You don't even have to introduce yourself, right? Yes,
it's probably one of the few brands people have no problem tattooing on their body.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we got a Harley guy sitting right out there. Look at that. And now, you're just not a lovely lady, a demure salesperson, business executive. Check out this picture here. She is a racer. That's Shelly right there with her full leathers on. And, I mean, you go out there and just kick some butt, don't you?
Well, that's been a new experience for me. I mean, racing has never been in my cards. I've always ridden motorcycles and all types, but this was an opportunity for me to get involved with, and to race a 1915 motor in a custom chassis was kind of really a great opportunity.
Really?
And Billy Lane brought the concept of taking these old motors that have been sitting on shelves for years and put them to work.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, anything that can preserve the past, I'm there. I don't care what it is. But, that what a great idea that is. And it's gaining in popularity, too, isn't it?
I believe so. I think guys that are obviously knowledgeable, girls, too, that are building these out, are building them to perform. And as we all know, they sometimes have emotional issues, but they get through it, and next thing you know, you're racing them.
Well, we have one of our former guests here, the great Doc Batchelor, who is the man for preserving motorcycle history. And what I love is that he might rebuild the motor, but he's not going to rebuild the bike. It's in its original condition, and you just kind of transport yourself back to those days, and you remember what it was like. He also wears all the accoutrement that goes with that. Huh? How's that?
That's a good one.
Yeah, okay. You can't say stuff. It's accoutrement if it's old. Absolutely. I'll spell that for you, Olin. Okay. Yeah, but to have you as a participant in your product, I think is so important to anybody in business. They have to believe in what they're selling. They have to know what they're selling, and you're a first-class example of that.
Well, and I like to surround myself with people who have been doing this for a long time, and that was how we were brought into motorcycles as a family. Our dad was always into bikes. He brought it as a sport to us as kids, and so I like to see those generations kind of move through it now. And as in being in business, as anyone knows, manufacturers out there are trying to find that younger demographic to come into motorcycling, and I'm a firm believer that you gotta get kids on them early.
Oh yeah. You there's nothing as far as too early, right?
I don't believe so.
See, same way with NASCAR. I went to my first race in utero. My mom was 2 weeks late with me. So you start them from the beginning like that, and you just kind of work it into their lifestyle. Basically, it's like that with anything. Some people are into hockey. We're into racing, right?
Well, and with sports, everything is to what level you want to go to it, and I think that's where racing kind of brings that out of some people.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
We're going to take our first break. We'll be back in just a minute after these fine words.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Welcome to Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. You're right in the middle of all the action. Daytona International Speedway, the airport, One Daytona, Florida's newest entertainment and retail destination, and of course, the world's most famous beach. You'll love our newly remodeled 1- and 2-bedroom suites, along with our popular King Studios. You won't need your full kitchen, as Homewood Suites Daytona serves up complimentary breakfast and evening social. It's like home away from home. Go to HomewoodDaytona.com for Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buz McKim.
Thank you, everybody. We have a new member of the family here. We found this guy walking the streets. He looked like he needed some gainful employment. No, just kidding. Anyway, how about a hand for our new guy, our new intern, Richmond Carter, right over here. Thank you, Richmond. And his dad is a biker, and he ran on the beach years ago. So, you know what we're talking about, right? You can get into it, right? Also, one more thing, the great Smokey Eunuch, who was a hometown boy, his daughter, Trish, has a birthday today, right? Yeah, and she is on our list to get up here one day and talk about her dad, dispel all those urban legends and all those myths. So that'll be a fun deal there. I think you'll enjoy that. But, your dad was one of the founders of the Boggy Creek Camp. What exactly is that?
Boggy Creek Camp is a camp in Eustis that opens through the summers, and it's a free camp to children and their families that are unable to go to a regular summer camp due to serious illnesses. And there's just a whole slew of things for these kids to do, and they take weeks at a time for specific needs.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing, and it was part of the network of camps that was founded by the Petties and also Paul Newman and Norman Schwarzkopf. And they have several of them around the country, but Boggy Creek is amazing. In fact, Adam Petty would volunteer out there, wouldn't he?
Yes, he was very involved in Boggy Creek with us for the few years prior to the Petties getting involved with Victory Junction.
That's right. Yeah, yes. And that was really, the Victory Junction camp, which is phenomenal up in North Carolina. That was kind of based on what the kind of love that Adam had for that camp in Boggy Creek, and they wanted that Victory Junction camp to be in tribute to Adam, in memory of him. And an awful lot of good has come out of the tragedy of losing him. But we lived in DeLand years ago, and one Saturday morning, I think it was a Saturday morning, anyway, I'm cruising down the truck route, and I stop at a red light, and here comes this whole line of motorcycles, and they're on their way out, their annual ride out to Boggy Creek. And who's leading the pack but Buz Rossmeyer, and who's right next to him but Paul Newman on a motorcycle. That was so cool.
Yeah.
That was very, very neat. And you folks do that every year, too, don't you?
Yes, we're heading up our 24th year, and we leave Destination Daytona at the dealership the first Saturday of October, and then we head right to the camp.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And, wow, you cannot think of a better... I don't really want to say charity, but a better program to get involved in, and the way those kids are helped, and every dollar that you give goes right to helping those kids. It's tremendous.
Absolutely. It's something that we've been able to see as a family grow over the years, being it's fairly close. I think if anyone has the opportunity to go out to the camp and to see exactly where the money being raised goes to, it kind of changes most perspective. We do a lot in the area and the community, but this is very dear to our heart, and our dad pledged to raise back 24 years ago. He pledged to raise in 10 years $1 million, and we are going into our 24th year, and we've raised over $5.3 million.
Whoa, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Man, oh man, he would be so proud. Well, that's one thing about Harley folks, is they are very giving by nature, and always ready for a good cause to donate their time and, give their money. And, hey, Joey Bag of Donuts, how many charity rides have you been on? Yeah, too many. But, that's just the nature of the Harley folks, and what a great group to get involved in.
I agree.
Yeah, it really is something. So now, say I've got a couple of bucks. I'm going through my middle-age crisis, and I want to get me a motorcycle. Maybe I don't want to buy a brand new one, but I can come up there and talk to you about a really nice secondhand bike, right?
Absolutely. We focus a lot on providing the pre-owned inventory, and we work hard at it all year. Just because we have the rallies in our backyard, Bike Week and Biketoberfest, we have that extra traffic. We work harder preparing for those events. But otherwise, we're always out there buying bikes from individuals that maybe have stopped riding, or just we go to auction. We go anywhere we have a resource to buy motorcycles.
Very good. Now, if I'm not too sure about my skills, I could go up there and I could rent a bike for a week or two maybe to see if I like it, or even a day.
You could, if you have a motorcycle endorsement on your license, you're able to rent a bike, and we've got a rental facility up at our store in Ormond. And then as far as the riding academy, if you're learning to ride or just want to get kind of brushed up on riding, maybe you've been away from it, then we've got the riding academy as well.
Yeah, your dad, they used to call him the Dodge Giant. He looked like kind of a rough, tough character, but he was kind of a big old pussycat, wasn't it?
Yes, he could make jeans and like a combed hairdo look really good.
He was a bit of an imposing figure, I would say.
He had a mix. Like he'd go biker to car guy, like in 2 minutes,
That's funny. Now, did he ever get a little scruffy when he wanted to go on a long ride?
Yeah, Dad was. I mean, as he got older, as most people would say, he started. His rides were a little shorter. He just, things started hurting, knees started aching, backs, a little bit like that. But he was a tough guy, and we loved riding with him.
Yeah. Now, have you ever been on any of the Kyle Petty charity rides?
Yes, in fact, I did that ride. I did the full ride in 1995, and then I did 2 other years. I did legs of it. But the year we ran across America, Dad followed us. He was kind of in the behind, and my sister Mandy and I were side by side. And the police officers at the time that were police escorting were helping us learn how to ride, like footboard to footboard.
Right.
And we were talking the whole way. And my dad, when we got off at a stop, he goes, "Would you two just shut up?" We're like, "What? We're talking." He's like, "Just enjoy the ride." So, yeah, I did the ride across America once.
That must be incredible. I know my sister and her husband, they were not motorcycle enthusiasts. They were bikers. They took their Harley. I guess it was a Harley anyway. And if it wasn't, it is in the story. But they rode from Phoenix to Sturgis to Daytona, and about 90% of the ride was in the wind and the rain. So, Yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh, and what was the Tail of the Dragon? Yeah. Have you been on that?
I have been, but I could not. I had just had shoulder surgery, so I did it in a dually truck, but very, very quickly.
Yeah. Now, that's up in North Carolina, western North Carolina in the mountains.
Yes.
What is like something like 142 turns in 20 miles?
I know. I have the T-shirt. I just don't remember.
Yeah. I'd need a truckload of Dramamine to do that one. I'd be so sick. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Just terrible.
It is fun. I'm sure when you have the road to yourself, it's probably fun, but a lot of people get hurt up there, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, they start getting kind of brave,
Fast.
And they outrun their talent, you might say.
Yes. Or the machine outruns them, for sure.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, you got to be on top of things, that's for sure. I'd like to, if I get into biking one of these days on a real serious basis, I'd like to be the oldest motorcyclist.
The oldest,
Yeah.
I got you. On the oldest motorcycle or the oldest?
Well, it doesn't matter as long as I, make it to the end of the road.
I got you.
With high numbers. Yeah, just like Herschel McGriff, the great NASCAR driver. He came out of retirement at 90 years old a few months ago, and he ran a NASCAR West Series, which is equivalent to Cup, but it's on the West Coast. He ran a race, the oldest driver to ever compete in a NASCAR race, maybe in any kind of race, at 90 years old. Didn't do too bad in the race, and then right after that, he hopped on a plane and took off for the East Coast and jumped in on the Kyle Petty charity ride. So, and he was not a passenger, he was a rider. 90 years old.
That's cool. I like seeing that.
Yeah. Old is here. Old is in the head. It doesn't matter what the numbers are, right?
Sure. And of course, as a skill, people really like to carry their motorcycles as long as they can. I mean, I'm seeing people regroup, come in 20, 30 years later after not riding and saying, you know what, I'm going to start doing this again.
Wow. That's very cool.
Not as many, but it's just neat when I see it.
Yeah. You have a lot of sidecars out there?
We do. In fact, we get quite a few customers coming in the dealership asking to put a sidecar on their motorcycle.
That's cool. Can I have a bike if I get a sidecar for you, sweetheart? No? Okay. The lady has spoken. Doesn't hurt. Now, have you done any off-road or any motocross or anything like that?
I definitely have. Not competitive, but in fact, my sister and my husband and a group of us just went over to Vietnam last year and rode dirt bikes all over Vietnam.
That's awesome.
It was really cool.
Now, are motorcycles kind of rare over there?
No.
Really?
Really, there are more scooters type motorcycles. I mean, there aren't a lot of Harleys. I think I saw one on the whole trip, but we were on Honda 250s, and they were perfect. We ripped all around off-road. Their version of on-road is like most people's off-road, but their off-road is pretty sketchy. It's pretty,
Really?
like we were taking bamboo rafts from one place to another to save 3 hours of riding through the trails.
That's amazing.
It was
Holy
really cool.
cow. You could make a movie about that, couldn't you?
I could have, but that was hard trying to document when you're just having too much fun. I know people do it, but I haven't figured that out yet.
Well, where there's a will, there's a way.
I believe
for
so.
Sure. Yeah. Is there any place in the world that you would love to ride that you haven't gotten to yet?
There are a lot of places. I want to go to Bali. I want to ride motorcycles in Bali.
That'd be cool. Yeah. How about the North Pole?
No,
No. Okay.
I don't think so.
You get little spikes on your tires and all that sort of thing. That'd be kind of interesting, though, wouldn't it? Outrunning polar bears.
Yeah, right. I don't need to be that cold.
You and my wife. That's why we're living back in Daytona. North Carolina was way too cold for her poor little thing.
Yes.
Yes, but the competition, though, that's a whole different aspect of motorcycling, isn't it?
I mean, I believe so. I love watching racing, and to participate with other people that are super passionate about it is a really, it's what makes this all kind of work. And you see it with cars and the racing and the history and the passing it down and the it never gets boring.
Exactly. We're going to break for halftime here. We got cross flags, and we're going to be back in just a minute with more from Shelly Rossmeyer.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Racing's original North Turn is our broadcast headquarters. If you're looking for a good drink, great entertainment, and the best in food, they're right on the beach at Racing's original North Turn. Rhonda and Walt invite you to come on down to dinner tonight. Here are a couple of testimonials. These are actual testimonials from people who have enjoyed the North Turn. Been there many times, always great food and drinks, great location on the beach. And another, what a great experience. It's my new favorite restaurant in the Daytona Beach area, Racing's Original North Turn on South Atlantic Avenue. That's A1A in Ponce Inlet, about 3.2 miles south of the Dunlawton Bridge and A1A intersection. It's Racing's Original North Turn, a restaurant, museum, bar, gift shop, live music. That's Racing's North Turn. Racing's North Turn has been voted by you top 10 beach bar 7 years in a row. Next year, they're going for top 5. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buz McKim.
Thank you, folks. Getting into the second half of the show here. The time is flying by. We had to do about a 3-4 hour show, don't you think? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Okay. Yeah, we have a really, really good question from the audience we're going to go to in just a minute. But it's very timely, too, with what's going on in the world today. But, gosh, Vietnam. Whatever possessed you to even think about going to Vietnam?
Actually, there were a few customers that had come into the dealership years ago. They were dual sport riders, and they had been doing trips all over the world, from South America to Australia to this particular time, Vietnam. And they just told me about their experience, and I put it on my checklist and finally attained it like almost 7 years later.
Wow.
So I planned it for a while.
And
I
it was
really
worth
researched it.
Worth waiting for, too, huh?
Oh, absolutely. And to find the right group, I ride a lot with my sister, and I wanted to make sure she would be able to do it with me, my husband, and of course, I have a couple other friends that are just avid riders, and I said, you know what, this it's a very particular group of people you would want to do that with. So.
And your husband went too?
He did.
Did he know what he was getting into when you got married?
Definitely not.
Okay, not?
Definitely not.
He knows now.
He definitely knows now, and that was a tough one, bringing him to Vietnam, because I could tell you he had some moments where he was like, why did we do this?
Each week we take a question from our audience, and we have what I think is a really good and timely one today. What's your name, sir?
Lenny Marsh,
Oh, where are you from?
Daytona Beach.
Oh, wonderful. Hometown boy.
Yes.
Yeah. What is your question, please?
what effect did the President Trump comments and tariffs have on Harley Davidson?
Well, the effect was unfortunately a little negative. It brought out whether or not I think customers were going to look at Harley's decision for moving manufacturing out of the country. But as a dealer, I didn't feel the effect, as I don't feel we will. I think Harley made a decision based off of their business, and with all due respect, optimistically, if things work out, then we may never even see that happen.
I think I've read or heard that all the Harleys in America are being built in America, and the export will be sent to all the other countries.
Well, we all know this, but Harley-Davidson is a worldwide company, and they are growing their world distribution. I mean, every year they're increasing market share outside of the United States, and so if it's going to help them provide the product to have distribution centers and or manufacturing, then that's what they're going to do. However, it's not going to stop what they are doing in the United States and providing the motorcycles for the United States.
And the last thing I'd like to say, thank you for coming down here, as well as all what your family has done for our community over the years. I was lucky enough to meet your dad many years ago.
Yeah.
And he was very involved in our community, and just say thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Great.
Thank
Great.
you.
Yeah, very well deserved. There was so much that your family has done for this area. A lot of folks don't even know about, but the number of organizations that you've been involved in and helped out, and the charities and all that. Tremendous. I mean, when you say philanthropist, your dad was a philanthropist for sure.
Yes, he felt giving back was something that was fun, and he liked to see things, work. He liked to see people's help pay off.
Mm-hmm. Now, being a dealer, and I'm sure you hear suggestions from folks all the time, is there anything that you would like to see Harley do that they haven't done yet?
I would like to see them bring a bike like we're seeing on the flat track courses now, like a smaller bike that would be something we could all rip around on, nothing too big and affordable. So if they could almost duplicate what you're seeing on the track and without all the performance involved, I think we would see people, all ages, get on a bike like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Would you ever ride barefoot?
No.
No. Good. It's good. Yeah, every time we see that, my wife and I just kind of cringe. Oh, my gosh. Now, has Harley been involved with the speedway bikes, the flat track speedway bikes? Have they done much of that in the past?
In regards to the circuit, as far the flat tracks?
Yeah, well, you got the dirt tracks, but then you have those speedway bikes that are on tight courses, very popular in Europe. They have no brakes. They have big, gigantic, sprockets and all that, and the guys are crazy. And the only time they stop is when they hit something.
I feel like that on my race bike. It doesn't have any brakes or a clutch either, but
oh my!
Yeah, it's very sudden when you come up on somebody. You're like, wait a minute. Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not sure all Harley's involvement. I mean, clearly they want to probably be involved in a lot more, but you got to make machines that allow you to do that.
Oh yeah. Well, and Harley knew early on that racing was a great way to get their product out in front of the public and to sell items and to use racing as a research and development platform. Going back to the teens and the board track days back all through the 20s, those guys were crazy. Yeah, 45 to 50 degree banks on some of those tracks, 1.5 to 2 miles in length, blinding speed. And each one of those boards, it was about like this floor here. You had a gap in between each one of the boards. So like this, and those guys were braver than Dick Tracy, I can't imagine that.
No, I know. It's really neat to watch, though, the history. And I like that you're starting to see that, as we just saw the other night, like on History Channel, the bike being jumped, and then to go back into knowing that there's been some history and TV shows and movies bringing out some of the history that you guys obviously know, and I learned by hearing and talking to people. But it's just neat that we're seeing it from an entertainment perspective.
It kind of drives me nuts sometimes when you have like a dynamic movie focusing on the negative aspect of motorcycling. I think that's awful unfair.
I believe you. I agree with you.
Yeah, because I mean that's just a small percentage of what goes on, and well, you know, and any of the businessmen in town or business people in town will tell you that the motorcycle crowd is the best crowd that comes to Daytona. They bring the most money. They're the best behaved. You know, I mean, stock car fans are okay too, but you know, you get more professional people that come for the motorcycles, and of course they want to look tough, but that's all right.
Well, it is. It's a culture. A culture of people doing a lot of the same things, but also, it's making new friends. It's finding new things new places to ride. I mean, we depend so much on the rallies in our backyard. It's a huge, huge part of our business. To be honest, just over 60% of our business is during 2 times of the year here.
Really?
And a lot of people don't realize that, and that's why we prepare for it, and we staff for it, we stock for it. I mean, we really do depend on the bikers coming in.
Yeah, really. And Destination Daytona is such a fantastic gateway, northern gateway into the Daytona Beach area. I couldn't think of anything more appropriate or more classy, or, you know, y'all just did a fantastic job on that.
Well, thank you. We're still kind of growing, weirdly enough. We just changed our hotel flag, which is what they refer to as from name to name, from the Howard Johnsons to the Clarion Inn. And, you know, you make upgrades over the years. You spend money, you invest it back, and hope that, you know, we have a long-time future.
Oh, I say there's no problem there whatsoever. We're going to take one more quick break here and be back in just a few minutes, maybe even only 1 minute.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. At Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees, it's all about making you happy. Beach Boys Embroidery can customize your athletic golf apparel, caps, hats, badges, buttons, magnets, backpacks, bags, totes, clocks, watches, oh, and of course, T-shirts. Sure, they're at 2033 South Ridgewood Avenue in South Daytona, and they're waiting for you to call now. 386-255-5880. Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buz McKim.
Motorcycling keeps you young, I believe.
I hope so.
Yep. Yeah, my mother, she's going to be 90 in November, and she's like a kid. And when they opened the NASCAR Hall of Fame back in 2010, our brother-in-law had his bike up there, and she fell in love with motorcycling. You know, she rides on the back of his bike every chance she gets. She got on that bike in Charlotte, and she did not get off until 10 hours later when they hit Daytona. And she was 85 at the time.
Oh, I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah, and she said, well, I don't think I'm going to date anybody that doesn't have a bike. Well, a 90-year-old with a bike, I don't know if I'd be wanting to be sitting on the back of that thing, you know? Yeah, so did you have any heroes growing up?
My dad.
Oh,
Yeah, he was still and forever will be.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You
He was
betcha.
pretty awesome.
Yep. Now, did you have any desire to get into bikes before your dad did?
No, I was the youngest, am the youngest of 5 children, and he had to take turns taking us on rides, and I remember those moments of being able to go on the bike by myself. That was also when you could put maybe a kid on the front, one on the back, but
Right.
when I upgraded and was able to sit actually on the back of the motorcycle, it was really cool. So.
That's very cool. Well,
Yeah.
my one sister, Kathy, she's the baby of the family. My wife is the baby of the family.
Yep.
And I've been told that the youngest is usually the brat. Is that true?
I don't think so. My mom said I really didn't need much. I just was always into something. And I had a brother I still have a brother, who was my partner in crime. And we were the closest in age. And we just, I mean, if anything, we had a lot of fun because I think my mom used to love when my dad would come home from work and it would be like, just take these kids and 5 of us. It's like, what do you do to entertain 5 children? You have to do something. So we entertained ourselves pretty well.
That's pretty neat. Now, does everyone in your family ride?
Yes. Yes. In fact, we have a sister who lives in New York City, and whenever she comes down to Florida, she always wants to hop on a bike. And we've even gotten the husbands and, you know, some boyfriends to jump on bikes. Will's wife, our brother's wife, doesn't ride, but his kids are getting older now that they're starting to ride.
I guess living in New York City, that's not the most practical place to own a motorcycle, right?
No, but it's so much fun to ride.
I'll bet.
I love riding it. I've ridden through New York City. It's actually, it's like anything. You do it to say you did it, but then you're kind of like, would I do it every day? I would have other options, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I imagine it'd be fun if you took the pipes off, too.
Yeah, right. Jump a few curbs. You never know.
Why not? That's cool. Yeah, is there anything on your bucket list that you have not gotten to yet?
I haven't created a bucket list yet. I'm still on my checklist.
Oh.
So I have a handful of places I want to go see and do, and definitely ride motorcycles. But I also like to, you know, when I think about traveling, that's still going to always be probably my bucket list, and creating places to go and things to see in the world.
Oh, sounds good. We're going to break one more time, and then we'll come back and wrap it up.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Welcome to the Janet Hale Foundation website. With this website, we hope to broaden our reach to find someone like you to help us on our journey. Janet's journey started 40 years ago to ensure that all children had a toy under the tree at Christmas. Today, thousands of toys and clothing are donated for underprivileged kids. We need your help to continue our journey. Tour this website and find the Donate Now button. A small gesture can make a big difference in a young life. We need your help. Visit us on Facebook, Janet Hale Foundation, or call 386-256-0752. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buz McKim.
Shelly was just lamenting over the fact that the racing on the beach must have been absolutely incredible, and it'd be nice to bring it back, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be very cool to see that in our backyard.
Yeah, on the South Turn, they had this observation platform that they had like maybe a turn announcer and a cameraman. It was built on telephone poles right as you came off of A1A onto the South Turn. And for the motorcycle races, they would wrap those telephone poles with mattresses so the guys, if they went off the track, they wouldn't get too totally smashed. Of course, I don't know how much those mattresses help, but, you know, it looked good.
It looked good,
yeah,
yes.
It looked real good. But, yeah, there's still some folks around. There's a guy named Jack Cook that lives up in Ormond. He raced in 52, 3, and 4 on the beach. We're going to have him here in a few weeks. And those guys must have been abnormally brave, really.
Yeah, and to think that, you know, it was created to do that big loop, you know what I mean? Now when you see these racing, that people are doing runs on the beach. They're just, which is obviously time trial type stuff, but to know that, you know, the big loop started half road, half beach.
That's right. And, you know, some of the biggest NASCAR names started off on motorcycles. Joe Weatherly, two-time NASCAR champion. And Paul Goldsmith, who was probably the best all-around driver, only fella to win a motorcycle race on the beach, a car race on the beach, and a car race on the speedway. Only person to do that.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty amazing, huh?
That's cool.
Yeah, and also Ed Kretz, Sr., who won the first Daytona 200 back in the 30s. He later came back in the mid-1950s and drove a Pontiac for the first Pontiac racing team on the beach. So you know, there's Bill France Sr., too, who founded NASCAR. Yeah. He won a motorcycle race on the beach on July 4th, 1937. So, and then Jim France, his son, has been involved in motorcycling and brought the flat track races to town. And Bill France Jr., in 1971, me and a couple of friends went down to the Baja 1000 with a little Volkswagen high jumper kind of thing. And Bill Jr. was down there on a motorcycle. He and Ray Ferguson, who was a Pontiac dealer, teamed up. And poor old Bill, he only got about maybe 20, 30 miles out, and he got thrown off the bike and landed on a big rock right on his tush. And he was walking lightly for a number of weeks after that. But I think if you have a need for speed, it's just natural that you're going to gravitate toward motorcycles sometime in your life.
I think so. I believe that tracks keep us safe, and it teaches us a skill. I remember I started selling Ducati and Triumph, which was, another brand in Daytona that a dealer hadn't represented. And I knew I was going to be talking about these motorcycles as I was selling them, and I figured, I can generally sell anything I've ridden and had experiences with. So I learned a lot just by riding different motorcycles, and now, I only ride my Ducati on the track. It's like I do track days, and that's kind of what I do for fun.
Mm-hmm. But for a road bike, there's nothing like
I love it.
Yeah.
I will never be as fast as what I see people riding those bikes at, but I absolutely love trying.
Yeah, that's got to be going through the mountains. Yeah, that's a fantasy of mine, is to take a Harley up through the mountains of western North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
I know I'd have to ride alone, though, because somebody over there is a little bit too cautious. So, now, wouldn't you love to go to Europe and ride on all the great circuits?
Yes, I really want to see Isle of Man. I want to see that. I would, of course, to race it, no, but I would definitely go and check it out. Yeah. You got to be pretty strong. Oh, that just blows me away, that whole thing.
Pretty tough, yeah.
But yes, I would like to. I've ridden scooters all over Europe, so.
Oh, really? How about around the circle in Paris?
You can pass cops on scooters in Europe.
But that Isle of Man, it is grueling.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you have to be normally brave or normally dumb. And, crazy is a good word.
Yes.
There you go, yeah. And, of course, you don't have a whole lot of creature comforts as far as sliding off the track. You're either off of a cliff or into a brick wall or a stone wall or a tree.
No mattresses?
No mattresses, no, not a one. Not a one. Everybody uses their mattresses for other things over there. But, and then the elevation changes, too, and you're in the fog, and then you're down on the flat and along the ocean. Incredible, insane. It's something everybody has to see.
Yes. I should have said that was on my bucket list.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, how about go Monza, Italy? That would be kind of interesting.
That would be absolutely. There are so many circuits over there that you're of course aware of that would be something to see in your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Just to know that we'll probably never see some of these these events over here.
Really? How does somebody get in touch with you to get more information about what you do and who you are?
I am up at Daytona Harley Davidson or our new Smyrna Harley store, and at least 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I travel mostly during the summer. Otherwise, I hang out there a lot. So we're actually in the middle of a renovation at the store, Norman, and we've been in that dealership for 13 years now, and we're doing some pretty cool stuff. So it's a whole new change to the upstairs and downstairs of the dealership.
Very neat. Yeah, and you want to keep things interesting, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Give folks a reason to come back.
Yeah, and an experience, when you think of all the retail opportunity that we've created, at least, we need to make it a great experience. So when customers do come in, it's easy to shop and it's a pleasant experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and even if you're not a motorcycle enthusiast, you can go up there and dream. I think everybody has a dream of hitting the open road with the wind in your hair and the bugs in your teeth and all that sort of thing.
Do I have any in my teeth?
No, you don't have any bugs in your teeth. Okay, no, you're okay. Yeah, wind in your hair. That's funny. Yeah, look at the advantage you have. And it's aerodynamic, too. Yeah. There you go. I thought so. Exactly. Amazing. Yeah. You ever have any close calls?
I'm going to knock on every piece of wood. No, but yes. I mean, I've gone down, but it's not been, I didn't see my life flash before me.
This is good.
So-
Well, I mean, that's part of the story, though, part of the deal. I mean, if you're going to be getting on a bike, you have to be prepared to, eat dirt at least once, right?
Yeah, and I think overall, it's the more I ride, like I go through periods where I'm not really riding, just if it's with and around work or traveling or whatever, and I feel more comfortable and less vulnerable when I'm riding more regularly.
Yeah.
It gives me a little bit more confidence of that guy's going to do this, or they're going to pull out, or you know what I mean? Especially around a town. So, and when I travel outside of the area and you're on different unfamiliar roads, I like to put on some good miles. It makes me feel a little more comfortable.
And you really have to be driving everybody else's car or vehicle, basically, right? Yep. Yeah. So keeps you on your toes, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I understand that in order to keep from getting Alzheimer's, you got to keep your mind going all the time. Crossword puzzles, things like that. Riding motorcycles, you keep your mind going all the time, right?
Well, and it gives us an opportunity to think about things, but it's back to a sport. When you think about learning to do any kind of sport, driving race cars, it's a concentration. But if you have the opportunity to keep increasing your skill, I think, I know things happen to the best of riders, the best of people, everything. But the second you kind of let your mind go somewhere else, you're up for probably
exactly
something. So.
It's break time, folks. You ready? Here we go. Get your applause on. Yeah.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Racing's original North Turn is our broadcast headquarters. If you're looking for a good drink, great entertainment, and the best in food, they're right on the beach at Racing's original North Turn. Rhonda and Walt invite you to come on down to dinner tonight. Here are a couple of testimonials. These are actual testimonials from people who have enjoyed the North Turn. Been there many times, always great food and drinks, great location on the beach. And another, what a great experience. It's my new favorite restaurant in the Daytona Beach area, Racing's Original North Turn on South Atlantic Avenue. That's A1A in Ponce Inlet, about 3.2 miles south of the Dunlawton Bridge and A1A intersection. It's Racing's Original North Turn, a restaurant, museum, bar, gift shop, live music. That's Racing's North Turn. Racing's North Turn has been voted by you top 10 beach bar 7 years in a row. Next year, they're going for top 5. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buz McKim.
Thank you. One little segment here that every week we like to bring you a little culture, for you art lovers and all that sort of thing. This painting I have behind me here, it's actually a poster. It's the first piece of commercial artwork I did for the Speedway 45 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long ago, but it was for Motorcycle Week, Speed Week, during 1973, and they were just bringing the motocross folks in, so they wanted of course, the road course bikes, the road race bikes, and the motocross, and then, everything about motorcycle racing at Daytona is kind of electric, so I thought I'd put those electric lines around it. It turned out real nice, and they shipped these posters all over the world. I was tickled to death for a 22-year-old kid. Whoa, stuff's going all over. But my signature is over there on the right-hand corner, and Jim Foster, who was president of the Speedway one time, we just lost him a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
He called me in his office. He said, I like that artwork, but he said, try to make your name a little smaller next time. I said, come on, man, this is my big shot here.
This is your big shot.
Yeah, so I thought it'd be appropriate to bring that today with Shelly here. And, I'm thinking that, gosh, if I had a bike and if I could get in there and tour any circuit, I'd probably want to try Daytona. Have you ever raced at Daytona Speedway?
No.
No? No. Yeah.
Yes. Very cool.
Wow. Well, the first few years, they ran stock cars on the beach here through 1958. The track was built in 59, but they ran the motorcycles on the beach another 2 years. So they didn't actually get to the Speedway until 1961. Speedway didn't know what those bikes were going to do on the high bank, so they put hay bales down on the apron where it met the banking. And for the first 2 years, 61, 62, they ran on the apron. And then finally in 63, they said, okay, well, let's give this a shot. Let's see what these guys can do on the high banks. And, man, you talk about fantastic racing.
It is definitely a beautiful track. I've ridden around it, as a lot of people in Daytona have had the chance, either with a racer or someone driving us, or we've ridden our motorcycles around it. But no, to actually race that track is pretty significant.
Got to be crazy. And, you know, the chicane on the backstretch was put in there not to slow cars down, but to slow the motorcycles down. The story goes that Johnny Ciccato years ago was hitting that third turn so hard and so fast that it was actually peeling the tire off the rim. So they put that chicane back there for the bikes.
Yeah, I've ridden the Miami track on my Ducati, and I was just that experience of coming out of the chicane for,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, doing a little bit less speed.
It's a life-changing moment, isn't
Yes. Pucker moment. As they
Yeah,
call
there
it.
you go. Yeah, I would be definitely, I'd be checking my pucker power coming out of the pits. It wouldn't take much, that's for sure. Pretty bizarre. But yeah, that's the thing about this area too. I mean, it's forever linked with motorcycles, any kind of speed actually. Electric cars, steam-powered cars, you name it. Research and development over the years. And I'm sure Harley was using the bikes on the beach to help develop their product too.
Oh, absolutely. They're still creating new product. You're here in the whole EV phase. They're right there in it. We expect to see their electric vehicle next year. And so this summer dealer meeting out in San Diego, we're going to get the whole scoop on Harley-Davidson's electric vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but now with each your electric bike, you have a cassette player or a DVD or a CD player, whatever, and you plug it in and it's sound effects.
I know. I want to know what they're going to sound like.
It should be
Battery charging, battery not charging.
I mean, the noise is half of it, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, exactly. You like the vibration too?
I do too,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it really makes you feel like you're alive, doesn't it?
I just seem to know that it's working then.
That's a good way of putting it. Now, y'all do have a very good warranty policy, don't you?
Yes, Harley does have a great warranty. I just was on the side of the road this morning coming, not here, but on a bike, got picked up from a truck and trailer, got back to the dealership, got on another motorcycle, and came here.
Golly. So you had a heck of a day before you even got here then, right?
And it was involving motorcycles.
Yeah. And one thing, if you're out there biking along down the road, expect the unexpected, right?
Yes, and hope that your phone works and someone can come pick you up.
That's a big plus, for sure.
Now, to the guys that know how to work on them, having that knowledge and being able to just wrench on your bike on the side of the road is another feature, but I didn't have that going this morning.
Now, you had mentioned earlier before we got on the air that you have one heck of a rewards program for your customers, right?
We do. We were trying to, keep the brand as any manufacturer, whatever. There's quality in a brand, but you're also wanting to give back as people spend money with you. And instead of being in the discount program, it was better to reward our customers. And so we do a Rossmeyer Rewards program in both New Smyrna and Daytona and the Main Street store. And it's just, you spend $1, you're getting money back. And we gave back over $150,000 last year.
Last year? That's fantastic.
Yeah. So it works. It keeps, people accumulating. And I mean, we can go anywhere shopping today, and there's usually some type of rewards program, but you're generally going to do business where you kind of get something back.
Yeah. Now, if I buy 5 new Harleys, do I get a 6th one free?
No.
Oh, well.
But you're going to get a hell of a deal on it.
Oh,
I
good.
promise.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. That's wonderful. Yes. Multi-item discount. Well, I hope you folks will visit us at Facebook Live and like us and share us, please. That's how we grow. We've already gone way past what we thought we would do at this point. Like at the end of the year, we thought we'd be doing this good. And it's all because of you folks believing in what we do and enjoying what we do, too. And if you listen to the stream of the show live, it's on. You can also archive our shows on YouTube and on blogtalkradio.com, and all that sort of thing. On YouTube, you can either pull up the name of the show, Legends of Racing Radio Show, or even if you forget about that, which I do sometimes, just hit my name, and it all comes up. And you can see everybody that has been on the show so far. You're going to be part of history here.
I like that.
Isn't that
Thank
great?
you for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my gosh. Absolutely fantastic. How about a big round of applause for Shelly Rossmeyer and her wonderful family. Super duper. Yeah. We got to thank our new guy, Richmond Carter. He's part of the family. And Shane Stanton, the real boss. And no more of that spiritual advisor stuff on Mike Multane. He's just the grand poobah, okay? And next week, we're going to have Godwin Kelly from the Daytona Beach News Journal. He should be very, very interesting. He's been around 114 years, and he's got a lot of experience that he can lay on us, and it should be a lot of fun. So thank you all, folks, for tuning in this week, and thank you again. Shelly, it's been wonderful. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Buzz. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
The Legends of Racing Radio Show originates live from the very spot where beach racing began, Racing's North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. Join us next time for the Legends of Racing Radio Show with Buz McKim.